Stochastic fiction game. This will be a timed writing game of 2 hours today. There we are. Now that that clock is ticking, we're going to create a script that will also have a timestamp. Oops. In this script, if I could properly spell the word stochastic, we'll output a file. And we're going to look at that file and see where its path is. It's inside story. And this is the stochastic fiction game outline for today. The stochastic fiction game is a writing game. It begins once that clock was started and continues once I read all of these story elements and write a story within the time limit. Sometimes it'll be the first chapter of a book, the last chapter of a book, the middle chapter of a book, or flash fiction like today. To keep ourselves doubly honest, besides this clock right there, there is a timestamp right there. The story elements now we must try to follow. I will rate this story at the end, mostly on if I like it. But if I fail on one of these story elements, well, I really didn't follow the game, right? So these are the story elements to write this flash fiction story within now about an hour and 58 minutes. The story elements for today are setting, time, past, setting, main location, gel, conflict, person versus supernatural, quantity of primary characters, 1, point of view, first, tense, past tense, genre, dystopian, format, flash fiction. Well, this will not be hard to write. Why do I say that? Well, I have written a lot of dystopian. And while it is a genre and type of story I'm trying to write less of, it's an easy thing to think of, given the time in life right now. There's a tense, past tense. I default to present tense, so that I just got to remember. Point of view first. So now we have to have an interesting narrator, so we don't have all these eyes, and it seems like Dick and Jane and how they would think, because that's how their story is also written in third person. Quantity of primary characters, 1. Okay. That means there could be like background things, but people who drive the story. There's going to be one of them. Conflict, person versus supernatural. Okay. I feel that's a type of conflict written a little bit about in the same setting a few times during the past 6 months. Setting, main location, gel. Okay. Our genre's dystopian. The supernatural is going to be, I'd never written a supernatural dystopian. I don't know really what that would be. Okay. I need to write a story now. It's got to be past tense, first person. So I need a fancy voice of a person. I need a object that will allow me to randomize a choice. Hopefully, a thing called dice. Die. Always have some dice close in your life case you need to move forward without thinking much. Well, of course, this doesn't have the 6-sided dice, but that's fine. We have to have a person. This is the main character's gender. We'll roll a dice. 1 female, 2 male, 3 they, 4 roll again, 1 female. So that is the person, and that is the primary character's gender. And it's got to be first. Oh boy. Well, I mean, there's not. I don't think they're going to have sex with the supernatural. Maybe then, like, I'd be beyond my writing ability because, well, the more nonfiction things you do in life, the better you can fictionalize that. And if you've never experienced it, it's harder to create fiction from it because you have no base. And therefore, if this were to be and have sex in it, well, fine. I can imagine what it'd be like to have sex as a female, but again, I'm not that. So I really don't know. Other than that, though, like, as long as they're not having some unique physical experience, I'm not saying that taking the body away from the mind is going to be easy, but not too concerned about this being a female character. I don't think it's really going to change the story of a supernatural dystopian in a jail. And this was like romance, maybe. Well, yeah, maybe. But this is not. And I'm not going to make it some, what would that be, a sadist dystopian prison? Just don't get into, yeah. And I don't want to write about it. If you would want to, like, that's why it's stochastic, right? I'm like, these are random, but then I start to organize that, and it does, yeah, follow some path. The random, yeah. So let's go tense. I don't know, like a jail. This person's if it's dystopian, then everybody's maybe in jail. Maybe that's just it. Everybody's in jail. So where's the supernatural? I don't know. Like, to me, having a supernatural character in the story right now, if they're all living in a jail, like a supernatural dystopian, like that's what this is. I've never, well, I mean, if it was like fantasy dystopian, sure. I've no fantasy dystopia, only because of, I mean, I role play with Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and Hero system and my own The Sheriff system, and I'm going to learn Daggerheart, so I have this comprehension of like dark dystopian fantasy and its possibilities. I've written it before and I've gamed it, but this is supernatural dystopian. Now, it can mean a lot of things. Do I want to try to create my own world within this flash fiction story within now an hour and 51 minutes? Because that will be difficult. And build up this entire like magic system, life system, cycle system of how and why the ghost exists within 600 to 1200 words. So it's best to probably root this into fiction, non-fiction, I know, like my life or our lives, because we're all living and creating some subjective thing, objective, because we all believe it. So if I use this, what we consider to be non-fiction, and start to build up this dystopian place around it, it'll be easier for the reader, at least if you're in the United States of America, so you have at least some, understanding of where this is coming from, deeper than others. But if I'm a good writer, then it shouldn't matter, right? Well, I only have so many words, and I can't spend a chapter on trying to like spin a magic system, or why there's a spiritual thing floating in a gel in this dystopian world. Maybe that is the dystopia. Maybe I could just take myth that we've created and some think are fiction and others think are nonfiction. So if I took a current religious system that's predominant in the United States, and that would be Christianity. Okay. Ooh, man, this is now getting good. Because now I can, like, automatically, I don't have to create some mythical god that then I have to, like, try to describe to at least hook those people that had played Dungeons and Dragons or have very much experience inventing deities. And they would be able to get it. But if I use Christianity and root it more in our real world, it speaks to more people. And in my mind, that's the type of story I want to write for this. I write plenty of fantasy adventure and world building and other things. And I only have now about an hour and 48 minutes. So let's go ahead and see if I can write this thing. Maybe. So let's, first of all, just because I thought of these, let's pull them all together one time at least. Person's in a jail. This is their narration. Let's say that in this jail, there's angels making sure they don't escape. And you really don't know why you're in jail. Well, I could go there, actually. Person versus, so what's the supernatural? They want to escape. But the supernatural is the only thing overwatching them. Oh, this is going to get weird. This really is going to get weird. So I got to get the angels into existence somehow, right? And this is first person. I was thinking of a way to do it, but then it's third person. Oh, I could do that. I could do that. So if I did something like this, my idea is that I need to show this entire scene, at least in one sentence, hopefully, maybe a paragraph, but I don't want to waste too much time. Time is words, the amount of words rather, because it's flash fiction, and I got to bring in the supernatural. So I'm going to probably write this word, hymns, right? Hymns. Those morning hymns. Now we got to think of this voice, whose gender is female, but I don't think it's really going to matter because this person's trying to convince a angel to free them. Or let them be, or how to get them away. Those him bring the angels in. Angles. Angels. Wow, I didn't write it. I mean, typed it out weird first, but the second time I didn't write angles. How many times in life have I done that? Many. I think there's a December song where it's there are angels in my angels or something like that. It's a pretty good song. Enough to have it be remembered after probably having heard it in about 10 years. Those hymns bring the angels. Close to the bars. Like, do I want to think of some slang? I just want to call it jail. Close to jail. Now I gotta at least describe these angels. The prison guard hymns. Bring the angels from the. This is okay. So this is the picture that's honestly because, I mean, like it's hard to avoid, and it'll be an easy, not easy. I don't want to go there. It will be difficult, but I think I could write it within the time. Difficult because I think I'm going to go with the subject matter of people for reasons that I don't know if I'll get into. They won't know. Are in a jail. And while I really want to put it into a Florida swamp, putting really awkward situations and things in swamps in Florida or just in Florida in stories, 4 stories, I've done. And I don't need to do it again. But I really want to. It'd be easy. Let's do it. It's such a big place. And like anytime I have a storyline where I need to have some sort of jungle-like scene and then I want to easily build a quick world, it's easier to build that world if you're living in the United States of America and Florida happens to have, among many people, a reputation. It's big though, so it's, I'm being prejudiced against millions of people spread out through a lot of land mass. But most of these are within the swamps because it's, I think it's going to be in Florida. But I'm not going to say that. They don't know. This person has no idea. But that's what I'm having in my mind. The angels float from the swamp grass. Okay. I'll just capitalize. I'm not going to shout to him. Sing of the Almighty bringing. Let's go Almighty. That way it's at least a little more finger pointing. Because I don't think many people would understand the uppercase H-I-M. And maybe they would. And maybe they would think of it in a different way. It would make it more literary and I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. I was nowhere good. The prison guard hymns sing of the Almighty and bring the angels. Bring the angels. Bring angels from the swamp grass. This is a very descriptive storyteller and narrator. The prison guard hymns sing of the Almighty bringing floating angels from the swamp grass near the bars. I gotta somehow trick this angel into making them believe that they're being controlled by the sinners. That's it. That's the conflict. The angel's holding them in, and now they got an opportunity. When their prison guard hymns sing the Almighty, bring floating angels from the swamp near the bars. The prison guards. Maybe it'd be the prison priests. I like that better. There's alliteration there too. Ooh boy, you can't avoid that too. I mean, if that didn't lock in so well. Prison priests, it's much better than prison guards singing hymns. So the prison priest's hymn sing of the Almighty bringing floating angels from the swamp grass near the bars. What are they doing? They're near the bars. So I gotta now think of this person's voice. Do they really talk this? Yes, they do. It's why the story was remembered. This narrator, this first person narrator is, and it's gotta be past tense. It. I just always prefer present tense perfect. Well, do I want to go like past perfect tense? The prison's priest could sing of the Almighty, bring and brought. I guess I like the word brought. Almighty brought floating. Right. Okay. Brought floating angels from the swamp grass near the bars. Near the bars? Maybe. Maybe they're just really close. So I have to have two of them. The prison priest's hymn, singing hymn of the Almighty. Ooh, let's make it a verb. The prison priest's hymn of the Almighty. The prison priest's hymn of the Almighty brought floating angels from the swamp grass near the bars. That's a better sentence. Thank you, past tense, making me look at that again. Is that like a narrator, though? Like, that's a pretty elegant sentence. But, you know, some people there are times, and especially when you're older, you have a way of talking. You get set in your ways. And if you're very descriptive and a good storyteller, which I've heard, sure. Let's just say that they write a lot and edit themselves. The prison priest's hymn of the Almighty brought floating angels near bars. Near the fence. They don't even have bars. It's all. What is that? The Constantine wire? I might have to use the word Constantine. Constantine wire? Is that the razor wire you put on top of the fence? I mean, I've used that word in a story before for a razor wire on a fence. I don't know, Constantine wire. I'm not looking that up either. I'm not going to use it, but the prison's priest's hymn of the Almighty brought floating angels from the swamp grass near our jail. The prison's priest's hymn of the Almighty brought floating angels from the swamp grass near our jail. I just had a thought, and I got to write this down on this right here. I'm sorry, but I've been working on something for a slide for how large language models are censoring censoring. Which was once a slide of how I can train it to be me. I just don't have enough processing power for that slide deck to present. Sorry for the interruption. That's a joy kill, I know, but I have to write that down. We're back at the stochastic fiction game. These are the story elements we're writing to. Setting time past. Setting main location gel. Conflict. Person versus supernatural. Quantity of primary characters 1. Point of view first. Tense, past tense. Genre, dystopian. Format, flash fiction. This is the one sentence I have written in the past 25 minutes, but I have a story. And I have that thought out of my mind so I can focus on this. All right, so the objective is for her to try to still the grass don't move much once near. They don't even move. They don't even move. Angels. Don't move once near. Hover like a still. Hover. I mean, they wouldn't move. Why would you? You're not affected by like gravity. You just sort of just stand there as a ghost and radiate your ghostliness. At least in my ghost world. Maybe they're dark shadows. Ooh. The floating angels. No, let's make them angels glowing. Bright light blinds a bit. Blinds at night. It quiets the crickets. It quieted the crickets. Damn it, past tense. But that's fine. I gotta go correct that, right? The bright light blinded the night. That's a little bit better. It quieted the crickets. So the prison priest hymn of the Almighty brought floating angels from the swamp grass near our jail. Their bright light blinded at night. It quieted the crickets. Hover like angels, rock through them. Oh man, that's terrible. Blinded our, darkened our freedom, darkened the freedom beyond their light. Try as I might. Ooh man, this person's been in jail a long time. And they have tried as I might, who likes just telling the story during the future. The darkened the freedom beyond their night. The, darkened the, I would love to say tunnel and light, to have like the light at the end of the tunnel be twisted into this a little bit, in this dystopian world. Remember, this is dystopian, so welcome to it. Darken the freedom beyond their light. Tried as I might, no rock thrown through them. I want no nor. Tried as I might, not thrown through them. No throwing. I tried as I might. No rock hit. I like the try as I might. Tried as I might. They only floated there. They only floated there. They only hung. They only night. I need to give this person that's in the jail is beyond their light. We all looked with fright. With silent fright. Every night after someone's done something, why they need to know why they can't escape. Like if I just have glowing lights and this is the person that tries to escape with physically, it's already happened, but I got to show it in the story. So we all looked with silent fright every night after. Let's do the gender role again for the name. We have done that in life. Female. Weird. I wanted to type the name Sue, but I'm editing like 2 stories with Sue flash fiction, so it's not like I've got 2 major. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about a different name. Xena. No, let's make it something Americana that I haven't used a lot. I don't even know. We all looked with silent fright every night after Mary. I've used Marys before as for names. Let's use it again. I think it's fitting for what I'm trying to write toward. The prison priest's hymn of the Almighty brought floating angels from the swamp grass near our jail. Their bright light blinded at night. It quieted the crickets, darkened the freedom beyond their light. We all looked with silent fright every night after Mary. Climbed the chain link fence. Ooh, am I going to do the climb the chain link fence and pushed through the razor wire only to hit the ground and run into their light, into the angels. It's all about the song too, right? Yes. I think that's it. I think that she starts to sing. Now I gotta think of a song. I don't want to do that. I mean, I want to do that. I don't know if I have time to do that. I do. Let's try it. So we all look to silent fright of none, blah, blah, blah. It's a long sentence. Yes. Is it past tense? Mary burst into flames. Okay. Mary burst into flames. Her ashes blew away. At dawn. After the hymns silence. And the angels faded into the swamp grass. got to think of the name of this. I tried to talk. I wrote angles, yo. I tried to talk with angels. I tried to talk with the angel. By first asking their name. I spoke to the angels. So I can show that it's like one night a mini. One night, saying, what is your name? And I felt a burning glowed in my mouth, and my mouth glowed a burn that singed my tongue and made breakfast taste like piss. Burn that singed and made my breakfast taste like piss. So that's sort of a way to be able to show they tried talking. They know if you escape, you're going to be. There's big questions about everything else, about why they're there. It just doesn't matter. You know? Like, this is the day once you just resigned yourself that you're there. At least in my totally fictional world, because I have never been gelled, captured. I've been grounded when I was a kid, but that is entirely different than this. So I can say with arrogance that I honestly want to try to escape before, if it was that hopeless. I think I should write something on that. At least a sentence. Like piss. Nobody talks anymore. Mini credit night along with the hymns. Some woke dead during the morning. Woke dead. I mean, that makes no sense. I think I wanted that we woke. Excuse me. Let's see if I can get seated still again. I spoke to angels one night by saying, what is your name? What is you name? No, what is your name? What is you name? I spoke to the angels one night by saying, what is your name? And my mouth glowed a burn that singed and made breakfast taste like piss. Nobody talked after that. Minnie cried at night along with the hymns. Every night, many nights. Every night, Minnie cried. Minnie cried. I'll say they woke blinded. I think the torture is that they can't kill themselves. Let's write a sentence on that. The angels glowed bright, and the hymn took flight. Let's roll another person who's going to do the act of trying to kill themselves, but they're not allowed. I got to roll again. They. Try to think of a non-gender name. Again, that's one thing though. Like, the gender really doesn't play a huge role in this. It could if I had more depth into it. It's just supposed to be about a person or a thing, but at the same time, well, Izzy. One night while the angels glowed bright and took flight, how would Izzy try to... I know it, Izzy... cut her wrist on the razor wire. We'll use something like a top defense. One night while the angels glow bright and the hymn took flight, Izzy cut her wrist with razor wire atop the fence. Before she bled, before they bled to death. Fire, bright light, wavering with the rising crescendo of the hymn. Crescendo. I don't know how to spell that word. Crescendo. That is not how you... Oh boy, I'm just not gonna look it up. Crescendo. I'm gonna say that. I'll be able to say that. Crescendo. I feel like I should take that H away. I mean, it's an English word taken from... Yes. So trying to say it, spell it like any word. I'm gonna have that be crescendo. It's close enough for me to read aloud, and I should just move on because I got an hour and 14 minutes left. One night while the angels glowed bright. Past tense, please. Past tense. And the hymn took flight. Izzy cut her wrist with razor wire atop the fence. Before they bled to death. Bright light wavered. That's what I want. With the rising crescendo of the hymn. With the hymn's rising crescendo. Let's put of the. That's kind of religious feeling, right? Instead of having the hymn possess this thing, let's just make it a full object of deepness with the rising crescendo of the hymn. Am I hitting my marks? Let's take a break. Let's finish this. I want to make sure that I'm not going outside of the story elements. One night while the angels glowed bright and the hymn took flight, Izzy cut her wrist with razor wire atop the fence. Before they bled to death, bright light wavered, and with the rising crescendo of the hymn, fire sparked from her wrist. As he shouted, before they bled to death, bright light wavered with the rising crescendo of the hymn. Fire sparked from her wrist. Izzy shouted. Okay, so that works out a little bit. So fire sparked from her wrist and Izzy shouted. Bright light. They woke the morning. Healed. Okay. Now we have someone who tried to kill themselves, someone who tried to escape, someone who tried to talk. And now I need to either have them all die, which I'm not, or find a way to get out, and that's what I want to write toward. This is a dystopian world, but hey, it at least will maybe give people hope to find out. Usually in those dystopian worlds, the hero gets away. Maybe. In this one, they at least find a way to escape. Whether they live or die, that's not the point of the story. It's to stop the hymn. I think I got him right. Man, just like some words. But I don't want to pause and look up a word with a search and return engine and then have some AI spout out the fucking history of it and waste a bunch of energy on what I don't need. Sorry for the profanity, but... One night while the angels glowed bright and the hymn took flight, Izzy cut her wrist with razor wire atop the fence. Okay, so we got that. They woke morning killed. Now I gotta have the thing that maybe the shadowed bright light with the hymn, in tune with the hymn. Pushing and dimmed the light, the angel's light. They woke the morning healed. I want to have something happen here too. So this says, what is your name? I gotta somehow now incorporate this hymn so I can give at least a strategy to give clues as to how they figure out, how she figures out the primary single person here to get out alone and through observation. But what's she observing? I think she has to observe this angel sort of dimming a little bit on this sentence here, at least. I spoke to the angels one night by saying, what is your name? The angel dimmed. And my mouth glowed. Okay. From their wrist. Not her wrist. It's the one trying to commit suicide, not the one trying to escape. Let's go back to the one trying to escape and have some sort of thing that happens during the escape that will trigger a reaction with the aliens dimming with the hymn and just singing louder, right? Or singing your story and being more intriguing to the fact that the angels realize that they're the ones that are being controlled by the devils. Hymns for the devil. I think that's going to be the name. The hymn. Angels to devils. Devils to angels. Angels to devils. Maybe. Devils? Devils. That might be devils. Maybe. Yeah, I have a lot of self-doubt and definition of things these days. One night while the angels glow bright and the hymn took flight, Izzy cut her wrists with razor. Well, I don't want to need to read that right now. I need to go make sure that this person who tops the fence has a reaction against the angels to be able to further give reason why. Yes, to further give reason why. We all looked with the silent fright every night after Mary climbed the chain link fence and pushed through the razor wire only to hit the ground and run into the angels. The angels dimmed. With the rising crescendo of the hymn. Is that it? Crescendo? Man, I would really feel cool today if the second time I wrote this, I almost got it right. I don't know. I'm not going to find. I don't care. I'm going to leave that as an open question I'll forget about. The angels, I can read this aloud and I'll know what I meant, at least. The angels climbed. The angels dimmed with a crescendo. With the hymns, with a crescendo of a hymn, with a crescendo of the hymn, with a crescendo of the hymn. I think that's what I want. Mary burst into flame. The angels dimmed with the crescendo of the hymn. Mary burst into flames. Her ashes blew away at dawn after the hymn silenced and the angels faded into the swamp grass. Okay, so now I have at least. And then I saw it. This is that morning right now. Or was. That's the trigger. So now we have it. It's the third one, right? Escape, talk, her own experience. Experience from some others who are not, like, they're not talking. Let's go back and let's take the stochastic fiction game story elements. For today's story elements, setting time past, setting main location gel, yes. Past, I mean, it's relative. Person versus supernatural can make the past any time. So can a dystopian genre. I got to pause here, critique my story element is in time. I'm going to write that down. Fix stochastic fiction game or edit it again. Because it's a hard one to place, right? If I were writing fantasy, it means, I guess it'd be like, what type of fantasy? Is it going to be like fantasy that's based upon like the fantasy adventure with knights, lords, based upon like European history and structures? This could just be in Florida a month ago. So I think I at least got time passed. I'll think that setting element more, not right now though, as much as I want to. Setting main location gel. Yeah, I think I've shown that. Conflict person versus supernatural. Yeah, angels, they are supernatural. Quantity of primary characters, 1. I think so. Like there are other characters, but they're not necessarily trying to escape with her. In point of view first, I think I have a pretty elegant narrator who's been there a long time and has developed poetry in her mind. Tense, past tense, I think so. Genre dystopian. This is kind of dystopian. And then flash fiction. I think I've got a story that has a setup, a conflict, and now I got to resolve it. As long as I remain within those parameters, this might not be total shit. But probably still just a little shitty. That's why one does some editing. Maybe a little rewriting. Probably not for this. Another story to source control with my Git repository of 20 years to show and tell the existence of me, but the process of writing. One night while the angels glowed bright and the hymn took flight, Izzy cut her wrists with the razor wire atop the fence. Before they bled to death, bright light wavered with a rising crescendo of the hymn. Fire sparked from their wrists. Izzy shouted bright light in tune with the hymn and dimmed the angel's light. The angel bright. Oh, I know what I want to do. They woke. Okay, I got some corrections and I got some better words. Let's do this. Yes, I like that. And then I'll get rid of bright over here, and then I'm going to put their wrists, not they wrists. That's what I want. They woke, morning killed. Okay. And now I got to resolve this somehow. Maybe. I have an hour if I need it. I might not. I think. Morning killed. I gotta make what's gonna be the words that makes the connection. Plight. Izzy's plight. Blight inspired. Plight. Plight. And the memories of all the times the angels light dimmed yeah, I think that's it. I think she's just gonna sing louder and with more control in such a way to dim all the angels and maybe redirect their, like, taking back at least the religion they once believed in. And that is not at all coming from me, but from this character. I've never believed. Izzy's blight and the memories of all the times the angel's light dimmed with the hymn. I think that's him. If not, I just ain't got that time of life right now. Maybe in the silence of the morning, Izzy's blight and the memories of the with the hymn. The hymn and the sounds. I don't want to use the word fright again. Oh, excuse me. So Izzy's blight and the memories of angels light dimmed with the hymn. One night, while the angels glowed bright and the hymn took flight. Yeah. I've already read that many times. I know it's not horrible. Izzy's blight and the memories of angels dimmed with the hymn. I can't think of this. My mind is stuck. I need better words than the ones I'm thinking right now. Sounds, Izzy's blight, and the memories of angels light dimmed with the hymns. Let's dim with the present priest hymns. Sung with the pain, the screams and cries. Let's get sorrow sounds. Sorrow sounds. The priest's hymn sung with the sorrow sounds dimming their light. Yes. Oh, man. Excuse me one moment. Okay. I think I can catch my breath. I'm talking a lot. Has a tendency to make my breath stall a bit. Also, I'm drinking coffee and water, and that really doesn't help also. My aging body and a little reflux doesn't go well with talking and talking and talking in a controlled way. What you're trying to think. Yeah, a little reality of the human body and how it stops thought sometimes. Let's begin it again by reading. Izzy's blight and the memories of angels light dimmed with the prison priest hymn sung with the sorrow sounds for healing. Ooh, oh, I don't know if I want to go there. That's torturous. I really want to go there. So my thought and mind right now, and warning, I'm going to get graphic a little bit. Not too bad. I'm not going to write gore. Izzy blight and the memories of angels light dimmed with the prison hymn sung with the sorrow sounds for healing. I think so. Yes. That's so that the idea would be she's going to sing with it louder with all her cries and pains and fears, while cutting herself on the wire, drawing and dimming all the angels while burning herself. That's the end of the story. I can do that in 51 minutes. I'm trying not to, I don't want to get violent, but I think I got to describe the cutting a little bit, right? And then how the light comes through it. Light comes out of her mouth and her eyes. This will be hard. Izzy's blight and the memories of angels light, dimmed with the prison priest's hymn, sung with the sorrow sounds for healing. That next night, and awoke at night. I woke glowing. They themselves become the angels and take the other angels away that have been tainted. Izzy's bright blight and the memories of angels light dimmed with the prison priest hymns sung with the sorrow sounds for healing. I would love to get into this how they're never hungry too, but you know, it's a flash fiction story, and I probably wouldn't want to go that deep in this because I write enough dark stuff in my life that I don't need another dark story. But this is the stochastic fiction game, and those were the story elements that were outputted by the script. The next night, when things glowed bright, and the hymn, this is gonna how I spell him. I really want to use a search and return engine to look up crescendo and hymn right now. Crescendo? If I could only pronounce it right, but hymn's pronounced right, at least I'm not spelling it H-I-M, I suppose, but at least it would get the words phonetics? Let's not go there. I'll just start sounding really stupid with my mind not focused on it, and a body full of self-doubt. That next night, when glowing bright, and the hymn shone, hymn sung, that next night, when glowing bright, and the hymn called the angels, and the hymn glowed the angels around the jail. I need to make sure, I'm in this mood to get done with this story so I can get it out of my mind and move on with life. This is pretty dark. But it's becoming a darker world. I suppose it's hard not to get influenced by it. This is why trying to not be so a writer of dystopia. Izzy's blight and the memories of angels light dimmed with the prison priest hymn sung with the sorrow's sounds for healing. The next night, when glowing bright and the hymn glowed the angels around the jail, I swayed with the waving tune like vocal bells. Filling our souls with I swayed with the waving tune. I'll probably remove that. They suck. But well, I waved. Vocal light bells chiming with a low throat bass. Like doom. My hum sing out of tune with the hymn and the climb and my climb to the fence top. And my climb of the fence and into the razor wire. I swayed and cut. I swayed. Body swayed. And mouth sung away the pain. Of slashes and jabs into my flesh, my body, the skin and flesh. I suppose this would be the one at the pearly gates, the one that, if the stories be true, would actually get through. And if the stories be true, then maybe I'll get through. The pearly gates. Well, maybe and maybe not. We'll see how this all goes. So Izzy's blight and the memories of angels light, dimmed with prison priests' hymns, sung with sorrow sounds for healing. The next night, when glowing bright in the hymn glowed the angels around the gel, I waved with vocal light bells, chiming with the low throat vibrations like doom. My hum sang out of tune with the hymn, and my climb to the fence, into the razor wire, and the rise into the fence. That's better. Into the razor wire. The fence is razor wire. My body swayed and sung with the pain of slash and stabbed, slash and stabbing, not jabbing. I'm not punching you. I'm being stabbed by the edges of this razor into skin. And even the bone. Light burned from my mind. My body, from my soul. Light glowed from my soul. While the angels dimmed. Light burned from my body. And sang from my mouth. And cried from my eyes. Beyond any time, I understood. It was the next night I woke. When I seen all were gone. and the prison priest silent. I think the last paragraph I need to fix. When I woke as a glow, my glow shone, all were gone. All were freed. All freed. And the prison priest silent. I was the only light at night. Light burned from my body and sang from my mouth, from my sang and cried. Burned my body and warmed and fired my song in tears. For the entire night until the sunlight. The next night, I woke. I was the only light at night. I think I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. I don't think it's a terrible end. It is a flash fiction story, so it is short. Let me exhale so I can read this thing aloud and be done and rate it. Because I'll still do it. I don't know if I like the title. The Angel. How's that? For today's stochastic fiction game, with these story elements: setting time past, setting main location, jail, conflict person versus supernatural, quantity of primary characters 1, point of view first, tense past tense, genre dystopian, format flash fiction. I think I've hit those elements, so I won't degrade myself for it. This is the story from the story elements for today's stochastic fiction game called The Angel. This is The Angel. The Angel. The prison priest's hymn of the Almighty brought floating angels from the swamp grass near our jail. Their bright light blinded night. It quieted the crickets, darkened the freedom beyond their light. We all looked with silent fright every night after Mary climbed the chain link and pushed through the razor wire, only to hit the ground and run into the angels. The angels dimmed with a crescendo of the hymn. Mary burst into flames. Her ashes blew away at dawn after the hymn silenced. The angels faded into the swamp grass. I spoke to the angels one night by saying, "What is your name?" And the angel dimmed, and my mouth glows, a burn that singed and made breakfast taste like piss. Nobody talked after that. Every night, many cried with the hymns, and a few woke blind. One night, while the angels glowed bright and the hymn took flight, Izzy cut her wrists on the razor wire atop the fence. Before they bled to death, bright light wavered with the rising crescendo of the hymn. Fire sparked from their wrist. Izzy shouted with the light, in tune with the hymn, and dimmed the angels bright. They woke healed in the morning. Izzy's plight and the memories of angels' light, dimmed with the prisoned priest's hymn, sung with sorrow sounds for healing. That next night, when glowing bright and the hymn glowed the angels around the gel, I waved with vocal light bells, chiming with a low throat vibration like doom. My hums sing out of tune with the hymn and the rise into the fence of the razor wire. Body swayed and mouth sung away the pain of slashing and stabbing into skin and flesh and even the bone. Light burned from my body and fired my song and tears until the sunlight. The next night I woke, my glow shone all freed, and the prison priest silent. I was the only light at night. It's not terrible. I haven't given myself a 4, but I think it's skirting on the edge of something good. But I think time would be something that I'd come back and reread this. Hopefully not touch it too much by editing it and messing it up. Even with time left. Let's go ahead and remember the story, at least with all the other stories in some way, by editing it in the same source control repository. I know. Because we got to bring ourselves back to reality, even after reading fiction that may or may not been good. Well, let's do this. Let's make it easier to read. If I do a clear, bring that prompt back up to the top, do a git commit, publish, write and publish. Write a story that is rated to be a 4. Publish it. And that was Stochastic Fiction Game. Until the next game, try to be the angel.